I absolutely love Army Men. This is the game series nearest and dearest to my heart. It was a hallmark of my childhood, and a full set of the series has been a gaming goal of mine since I started collecting. That said, they aren't good games, by and large. And no game in the series that I've played so far better illustrates that than the Game Boy Color version of the original Army Men. The game definitely has some positive aspects, but those positives are sadly few and far between, and really bogged down by the litany of negatives. As a whole, it's actually quite impressive that 3DO managed to port as much of the original PC game as they did to the Game Boy Color, given how relatively primitive the Game Boy Color's hardware is. The port includes 2 of the 3 campaigns from the PC original, the Desert and Alpine campaigns, and while the missions themselves aren't exactly the same, the gist of the story remains intact. The Tan Army invaded the Green Nation, and Green Intelligence learns over the course of the fighting that the Tan are constructing some sort of Uber device. The objective of the latter half of the game becomes to secure the Uber device for the Green Army. The end of the game doesn't quite show the same events as the PC original. There are newspaper headlines that mention that Sarge is a big damn hero and that the Uber device is in green hands, but it doesn't say anything about the Uber device being a key that opens a portal, like you get in the closing cutscene of the first game on PC. Unfortunately, the amount of the original game that got crammed onto a Game Boy Color cartridge is where the impressive aspects of this game stop. Visually, it's trash. The desert levels look almost like one of the more impressive Atari 2600 games, and the Alpine levels look like an Atari 5200 game. Considering that the Game Boy Color is significantly more powerful than both of those consoles, that's not a plus. Okay, so that was a little bit of an exaggeration, but honestly, it's only a little bit of an exaggeration. The music is even worse. It takes the exact same painfully repetitive theme from the PC original and turns that into a digitized and garbled 8-bit monstrosity that assaults your eardrums like the German Blitzkrieg over the Franco-Belgian border in 1939. The only redeeming part of this game's sound is that Sarge's digitized voice dialogue actually sounds really good given the system that it's on. I think it sounds better than Pikachu's voice in Pokemon Yellow version, personally. Unfortunately, there's just absolutely nothing compelling about this Game Boy Color port of Army Men. The gameplay is competent enough, but the controls are stiff and clunky, giving it an even more awkward feel than the already hard-to-control PC game. It looks like rubbish, and the music is downright offensive, but if you're either really into the series or just love the Game Boy Color games, I love both the series and the system, it's playable. It's not fun, but it's playable. Unless you're a hardcore Army Men fan or Game Boy Color collector, though, there is absolutely no reason for you to even bother emulating this game, let alone buying a cartridge. It's really just got nothing whatsoever to offer. My rating for Army Men for the Game Boy Color is a D.